You know, every single day, millions of our kids step into a playground. But this playground, it has no fences, no real supervision, and it's full of hidden dangers. That playground, of course, is the internet. But what if we could actually redesign it from the ground up to be safe? Well, the new blueprint is starting to show us exactly how.
So let's just start with the one question that pretty much every parent, every guardian asks themselves. When our kids go online, are they actually in a safe space? It sounds like a simple question, right? But the answer? Well, the answer opens up this incredibly complex and often invisible world of risks that we all have to navigate.
And look, here's why that question is so incredibly important. For kids growing up today, that line between the physical world and the digital world, it's practically gone. The internet isn't just some tool they use anymore. It's their park, it's their schoolyard, it's the place where they learn and play and connect with their friends. It is their playground.
Now, don't get me wrong. This digital playground opens up these amazing worlds of creativity and learning. But just like any playground, it has its own set of hidden dangers, and these are dangers that are totally unique to the online world.
So what are we really talking about when we say dangers? I mean, it goes way beyond just seeing some ads or stumbling on inappropriate content. We're talking about really sophisticated, manipulative design tactics that are built to keep kids online longer and trick them into sharing more of their data. And here's the key difference. Unlike you or me, kids often just don't have the developmental maturity to grasp the long-term consequences of one little click.
Okay, so this is where things get really interesting. A new blueprint is emerging. The U.S. state of Nebraska just passed a law that is seriously raising the bar for child online safety, and it's giving us a powerful new way to think about this whole problem.
This law is basically built on 5 pillars. Think of them as common-sense safety rules for a modern playground. First, privacy by default. That means the highest safety settings are already turned on right out of the box. Second, they can only collect the absolute minimum data necessary. Third, a total ban on those manipulative designs. Fourth, strong parental controls that actually work and empower families. And finally, transparency, so everybody knows the rules of the game.
Let's just zoom in on that term, dark patterns, for a second, because this is so important. These are basically tricks that are embedded into the design of an app or a website. So imagine a pop-up with a huge bright green button that says, "Yes, share my info." But the button to say no is a tiny gray link that's almost impossible to see. That's a dark pattern. It's designed to manipulate you, and it's especially powerful when used on kids.
And to make sure that these rules are actually taken seriously, this law has some real teeth. Companies can get hit with penalties of up to $50,000 for each violation. Now that's the kind of number that forces the big tech platforms to sit up, pay attention, and fundamentally change how they do things.
Now, this blueprint from Nebraska, it's not just some local story. It's a really powerful lens we can use to look at online safety all over the world. So let's take a look at India, a country with one of the largest populations of young internet users on the planet, and see how this new model really highlights some critical gaps in its current approach.
What's really fascinating is when you put them side by side like this, you see 2 completely different philosophies at play. On the left, you've got the U.S. model, which is all about making the platforms accountable. It creates a duty of care, which means the platforms themselves have a proactive job to keep kids safe. But on the right, India's current model leans really heavily on parental consent. It puts the burden on the parents to give permission, rather than on the platforms to prevent harm in the first place.
And you can see how this focus on just getting parental consent starts to create some real-world problems. For one, a lot of parents might not have the digital literacy to give truly informed consent. And kids, as we know, can easily get around simple age gates. All of this leaves these huge holes in the safety net, creating a system that's more about reacting to permission than it is about proactively designing for protection.
Okay, so where do we go from here?
Well, the cool thing is that the US model doesn't just point out the problems, it actually offers a kind of roadmap. Here are 5 key lessons that could help build a safer digital future for kids in India and honestly, pretty much everywhere else too.
The big idea here really is about shifting the burden of responsibility. First, moving away from just parental consent and towards true platform accountability. Second, requiring age-appropriate design, which means services have to be built to be safe for kids from the get-go. Third, a huge investment in digital literacy. Fourth, demanding real transparency through things like independent audits. And finally, and this is so crucial, tailoring these rules to fit the local culture and population. It's not about copy-pasting laws. It's about adapting the core principles.
And when you step back, all of this points to a much bigger idea. This isn't just a job for lawmakers or a problem for tech companies to solve on their own. It's really about all of us recognizing our collective responsibility to build a digital world where our kids can actually thrive, not just survive.
There's a quote in the source material that it nails it. It says that protecting children online is a collective responsibility. Lawmakers, tech companies, parents, teachers, and even the kids themselves, everybody has a part to play here. It has to be a partnership if we want to create a digital world that's safe, empowering, and truly designed for its youngest users.
So as we wrap up, I'll just leave you with this question to chew on. Should safety by design be the non-negotiable global standard for every platform? Just imagine, what would the internet look like if every single digital space our children entered was built from the very beginning to be a safe and creative playground?